Welcome to Popternative, where we dive into topical discussions from the worlds of pop culture, social media, and sports. Here is your host, Peter Remoliotis, aka PD Beats.
Hello and welcome to the Popternative podcast. This is the podcast and talk show where we have digital discussions from the worlds of TV, film, pop culture, everything really depending on the guest. We talk about it all. As always, I'm your host, Peter Remoliotis, and on social media, you know me as PD Beats. You will recognize my guests from many movies in the horror genre as well, but most recently you could catch her in Dreamkatcher, starring Radha Mitchell and Henry Thomas as well. We were with Lin Shaye. Lin, welcome to Popternative.
Thank you, and hello, everybody. I'm glad to be here. Hope everybody is safe. I put earrings on for all of you. I have toilet paper earrings, but I thought today I would dress up. So these are my more sophisticated, glamorous look.
Well, thank you for doing this, and first off, congrats on Dreamkatcher. I really enjoyed the film, and it's nothing new to you. I mean, horror is a genre you're really familiar with.
It's true. You know, I honestly don't think so much about the genre part. For me, it's always driven by the people I'm going to work with, the story we're telling, and the character. And so this was really fun to work on. Carrie Harris and I worked for a long time on on storyline, on you're building a supernatural fictional world and how to make that be logical. Yep. Because if your viewer doesn't understand the world that you're afraid of, then they can't be that afraid either. I mean, I think it's a better and so we I hope successfully interpreted what that world is of this hag who lives in this, who has sort of absorbed this child's mother.
Yeah, no, for sure. And it's one of those things I mentioned on the top. I mean, a very strong cast in this movie. Like the three of you really carried it, and I really enjoyed it. And it was just really good to see, you know what I mean? And I find it interesting too, because you look at other films in the horror genre that you've done, and there's a lot, but specifically the Insidious films, which just kind of exploded. And you go to the third one, and then I believe it was Insidious: The Last Key. I believe that was the name. And I mean, your kind of roles in those films like progressed to the point where you were the lead in one of those films. That's pretty crazy to see.
I mean, nobody's more surprised than me. Seriously. I mean, I was just watching, there's a small movie I did that's still on Amazon Prime, and anybody who's looking for content, it's called Room for Rent. And it's also a small film, smaller than Dreamkatcher in terms of finances, etc. But I was so proud of the character that we developed. And anyway, I'd hope as well, after Dreamkatcher, watch Room for Rent. I'm going to put a little plug in for that.
Absolutely.
And it's exciting when you come up with a story that's interesting to tell. And again, working with these skilled actors and very thoughtful and smart people, it makes everything better.
Absolutely. I promised, my parents would talk about this. So we were watching a long time ago, a couple years ago, Insidious: The Last Key. And specifically that film is very important to us when we talk about films, because obviously that movie has a lot of jump scares. All the Insidious do. But my mom was holding our dog Leo, in while we were watching it, and Leo started barking about some stuff, right? And then we're holding Leo, and there's a jump scare in the hospital where I believe they turn and there's someone at the window, and my
Right.
mom just shrieked.
Throw the
And
dog up in the
the
air.
dog kind of went up in the air a little bit. Like it scared, like that movie scared the hell out of us.
I mean, I actually didn't answer your last question. I kind of diversed back into Dreamkatcher. I was just doing, now that we're back to Insidious, you were saying too how Elise sort of emerged as a key, forgive the word, but as a key figure in
Yeah.
the films. And so just to address that, to sort of address it a little better, I think, I guess when I create a character, hopefully there's a past, present, and still a future. And there was something about Elise that audiences responded to that made Lee Winnell want to fill out who she was, who was this woman, and sort of inform the viewers too that this was also a part of the mythology. And so I was so honored to be included in such a large role in the fourth one.
Now, I want to know, when did you work on Dreamkatcher? And when you worked on Dreamkatcher, was there any overlap? Because I understand you were also in the reboot of The Grudge as well, which was, right. Was there any overlap? Like, which one did you work on first? Like, what was that like?
I think The Grudge, I'm pretty sure The Grudge was first. I'm trying to think. There was no overlap.
Okay.
There was another film I did called The Call, which also we tried to work out dates. That was the other thing. But The Grudge, I believe The Grudge came first, and then Dreamkatcher.
And how long like your scenes in Dreamkatcher? How long was that whole process for you?
I think I was there for not too much over than 8 or 9 days, I think it was, or 10 days full. When you when you create the schedule for a film, it's always a little bit crazy because everybody's got conflicts and this and that. And we were able to get everything in those 10 days.
You look at Dreamkatcher and a lot of horror films right now, and a lot of smaller budget horror films, but you look at the horror movie boom that kind of started, I'd say, in the last 5-10 years, so to speak, and Insidious and Conjuring, those movies were a big part in terms of leading that boom and leading the popularity of films in that genre. How does it feel to be part of that boom with being in movies like Insidious?
Really great. I mean, it just feels great, because you want to be a success in what you do.
Absolutely.
And success has a lot of dimensions to it. There's external success from people who appreciate what you do, and there's also personal success. And I think this checked off all those boxes for me, that they were popular entertainment and at the same time really rich characters to look for and to portray.
When you were starting out, acting, did you ever watch horror movies growing up? Because I find it interesting. Some people that star in horror films can't do the horror. I've heard of that before, and I find that interesting.
Well, when I grew up, which was 400 years ago, I mean, it wasn't. I think the movies I grew up with that were scary movies was Alfred Hitchcock. That was, and The Twilight Zone, and there were television programs that were sort of suspense. There was a movie, a show called Suspense. They had been radio shows. This goes way back. And then they became television shows, and they were scary. They were.
Were you able to do it though? Were you able to handle the scariness?
Yeah, I liked it.
Okay,
I did like it. I liked it, but they were very scary. I remember my mom. She didn't like me to watch. There was one called Lights Out, and the key broadcaster was Frank Gallup was his name, and he was actually a very famous radio voice. This gives me goosepimples to tell you about. And when they did the TV show, he was in a totally pitch black background, and they floated his head, and it would be lights out. He had this, and I remember I would be at the television, and I was sort of be falling into the screen, and it was really scary.
Wow.
So I didn't ever think about acting in horror films at all, but I'm interested in fear. I think fear is such a crazy, certainly universal emotion that has a lot of complexity to it. and it's exciting. If the one thing about fear, as well as being fearful, and there's an excitement to your whole body vibrates with it.
But the thing that I think you could agree with me too, the type of content in the horror genre that's coming out right now, Lynn, is it's not all like the jump scares still exist, right? But the stuff that's scaring me is the psychological stuff.
Truly.
The dinner party gone wrong. These people come in to a dinner party, they're acting weird. You're like, what's going on with this guy? What's happening with her? That's what scares me. Like, there's different things that we could do now to scare people rather than the cheap jump scare. Like the one that got my dog jumping in the air.
That poor dog. Leo was his name. Poor Leo has never been the same.
He was fine, but it's just like, that was like, I wish we could have videotaped that, because that was the most genuine, like, scream of a movie. Like,
where it was, what was the moment?
There was a hospital scene, I believe. And
you said that where there's someone.
Or maybe not a hospital, but there was a window. Like it turns to a window.
Someone walks by the window.
Yes.
In Insidious. Yeah, I do remember.
In
and
Last Key.
And James.
Oh.
I'm sorry, I'm talking over you. It's like I'm gonna be Leo in a minute.
No,
I will leave the screen.
Do you know what I'm talking about though?
Yes, I do. I totally do.
Okay. And you were also in the Ouija movies as well.
Right. I have a small role in, yes, I was. The second one I didn't have too much in. It was
the second one scared the crap. I saw it on Halloween, which was not like the origins of evil. That one is actually, I don't think people talk about that one as much, to be honest with you. In terms of those jump scare movies, that's one of the scariest movies for jump scares. Like insanity. Sorry, I could talk about this forever. Very quickly, I did want to also mention, we talked about your like the horror genre, but you've had such an amazing career with other films as well in the drama genre and the comedy genre. I mentioned Detroit Rock City is one of my favorite movies of all time. You are not very nice in that movie. And then also Something About Mary. Like it's amazing to see the variety and the diversity of the film genres you've done over your career.
Thank you. I mean, I'm so filled with gratitude. And now my doorbell's ringing, but forget it.
It's all good.
We'll let it ring. Which can I go? Can I just no?
Well, I'm wrapping up, so.
Okay, well let's go ahead. I mean, it's weird to be home and suddenly the phone rings or the doorbell rings or your dog or cat starts meowing and walking through the shot. No, I'm good. There's no rush. It's probably appropriate to leave it.
No problem. Yeah, we've been getting a lot of deliveries too. They ring the doorbell, they leave, but Leo freaks out. So it's
Leo. I want to meet Leo.
Well, Leo is on Instagram. He has 154,000 followers on Instagram.
Oh, you are kidding.
Little Leo the Morky.
Okay, I'm going to look him up.
Yeah, so he's up there. But Lynn, thank you so much for joining me on Popternative. I really appreciate you taking the time to chat about Dreamkatcher and your career. I'm a big fan. I'm a big horror fan, so this is a treat for me. So thank you very much.
It's really fun. A lot of times phone interviews, but it's wonderful to meet you in person. And also thank you to all the fans out there. Let's everybody stay well and take this time to investigate yourself. That's, I think, because it's very rare that we have no static around us like this. It's really, and it's an important time to take advantage of that. I really feel that way.
Absolutely. Where can people follow you on social media, and where can they watch Dreamkatcher?
Dreamkatcher is on all the platforms, I believe. It's on, it's everywhere. It's on Amazon. I think probably Netflix as well. I have a Facebook page. It's, I got a lot of followers, but Instagram, I'm there. It's Ms. Lin Shaye, and anybody is welcome to come and participate in the shenanigans on Instagram.
Leo is going to follow you on Instagram.
I want to meet Leo.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much, Lynn, and congratulations so far on the success of Dreamkatcher, and I hope you are staying safe during these times of the quarantine.
Thank you, and let's hope there are many, many more movies ahead. So enjoy every minute. That's the big message, really, and enjoy yourselves and the people who you are allowed to touch around you.
Absolutely. Well, this has been Popternative, youtube.com/Popternative. For previous episodes, be sure to watch Dreamkatcher starring Lin Shaye, Radha Mitchell, and Henry Thomas. It's available on a lot of different platforms. It's a great horror film. And until next time, this is Lin Shaye and PD Beats signing off.
Thank you for tuning in to Popternative. Make sure to check out our past episodes of Popternative on YouTube. Be sure to like Popternative on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
This has been an Autograph Communications production.